YouTube? It's Nomad76. Going to start a new radio series. Probably call it Exploring Unlicensed Long-Range Communications. And so in front of you, we'll just kind of go do around the world, and we'll get a little more into the weeds. First off, to explore this, the first thing you're going to need, or I needed, was a Uniden Bearcat 980 single-sideband. I didn't need that specific radio. I just needed a radio with single-sideband. I do have a Cobra with single-sideband, but found out past video a hard way that the radio was bad, or it needs to be repaired. I still have it in a box. I plan on actually getting a quote to see how much it's going to cost me to repair it. This radio here is about $108 on Amazon. I've had it for about 6 months now. It's in my vehicle. This is just the box, just a visual aid here for this video. Why do I have these cables laying here? If you're not familiar with this is a dipole antenna. It's a homebrew one by a guy on that sells them on eBay. We'll get into that a little bit more in a minute. My vehicle has a fiberglass whip, 3-foot fiberglass whip antenna, K40, and there's a reason why I need this if I'm going to do over horizon radio, or if I want to try to get that long range communications. So this antenna is capable of operating in a 10 meter and 11 meter band. Primarily what I'm going to be talking about is 11 meters. So 11 meter is CB radio. It's just it's basically a set amount of frequencies in that 11 meter band that you're allowed to operate without a license. And with single sideband, you're allowed to operate up to 12 watts. So most of these radios they're set up for 12 watts. And now there is export radios that some people purchase they can operate that are set up from their factory to operate at higher wattages, because they're from like Europe and stuff like that, where they are allowed to operate at those higher wattages. Are they legal to operate in the U.S.? Officially, no. Although it does seem like people are, and I do believe people are operating them without licenses. To me, it seems as if the FCC is not really regulating this that much anymore. I mean, they do have the regulations, which doesn't mean they couldn't find somebody. It just doesn't seem like they're very actively pursuing that. And disclaimer is not, nor am I telling anybody that they should go out and do this. That's up to you. If you wanna operate in those a radio that's illegal according to the FCC, that be prepared to pay the consequences. So get that out of the way. So my whole idea is a lot of people in the emergency preparedness community, the prepper community, the self-reliance community, whatever you want to call it, survival groups, whatnot, tend to, in my opinion, avoid communications because it's complicated. It's not as simple as plug and play as we are very accustomed to nowadays with with our cell phones, and internet and so on and so forth. So CBs have been around forever, and they're considered kind of antiquated technology. And the problem with them not being regulated is, as far as the content that is on there, is there's a lot of garbage on the regular CB channels, the 1 through 40. But if you get on the single sidebands, the sidebanders tend to treat it a lot more like operating on ham radio frequencies. And because of that, it's a lot cleaner, it's a lot easier to make communications on there. And in fact, they even use call signs and use, kind of standard etiquette. It's all self-regulated. It's not required. And there is still the jerks occasionally get on there and, just be jerks and try to interfere with people having normal, everyday communications. So it is what it is. To get to the point is, if you could set a system like this up, now this is a portable antenna, but you set a more permanent setup at your house or in a vehicle. Now with the vehicle, like I said, we have to talk antenna issues to get the long range communications, to send and receive off of. And I'm still exploring that myself. And that's what this series will kind of lead into. You could potentially talk to a family member or whoever, a group member, from long range without having to have a license. And that, that the license is the biggest thing that a lot of people don't like to deal with for whatever reason. It's privacy reasons, it's just time, money, whatever. So for around, $150 to $200, someone could get set up. You can buy used. On eBay, there's plenty of used single sideband radios, old base station single sideband radios, stuff like that. They're meant to just plug right into the wall, so you don't need a power adapter or anything. And then get yourself a base station antenna, or learn how to build your own, and you're up and running. And you're talking long range. I've received on my vehicle setup transmissions from all the way out in Canada, all the way on the East Coast, all the time. I hear them loud and clear. Now, I can't talk to them back because of my antenna configuration, and potentially my wattage might limit me there, and of course the conditions. And we'll get into that maybe in later videos. I'm not an expert on that. Just what I've read and watched on YouTube is really all I know about it. Excuse my phone here. So to wrap this up, the whole point is I think that preparedness groups should be more open to this type of communications. I mean, the ability to talk to a family member, say on someone that's located on the western side of the Cascade Mountains, to talk to someone on the eastern side of the Cascade Mountains, whether it's in the same state or just the next state over or whatnot. That would give someone that ability without having to deal with the licensing. Because when you go get a license to operate like this Baofeng, you're limited to pretty much local communications anyways, because this is a 2 meter 7 centimeter bands, which relies primarily on repeaters. You need to get an HF rig to be able to talk long range. Well, CBs are in essence an HF rig. So with the right antenna configuration and the right radio, you could potentially be talking long range without spending the money or the time to study and prepare and learn to operate a HF amateur radio. I'm not against HF. I'm not against any of that. In fact, I someday want to get to that point, but it's it's a money thing and time thing for me too. So I just wanted to present this series as to show people that there is some options out there. They may not be the best or as good as, of course, as amateur radio, but if you don't have the time, you don't have the money, you don't want to deal with it, there is another option there. So I hope you guys continue to watch these. I should try to, hopefully this coming weekend, how much time I have, I'll get out in the field and I will test this system out. So that you guys can see it in action. So thanks for watching. Please provide me with any feedback. I will leave the information below for this antenna if you guys are interested, and we'll be going into more details as I work through setting it up, tuning and whatnot in the future videos. Thanks for watching this Nomad 76.